I'm joined right now by Kurt Feigl of sendarope.com and Doug Newberry of Investing Systems. Guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
Pretty good, Don. How are you?
Fantastic. I think everyone knows you, Doug, from the video we did last week, but Kurt's new, and at least new, well, not to the YouTube, but certainly to our videos. Kurt, if you could take a moment, explain to people, your website is sendarope.com. Can you explain what sendarope.com is all about and how and why you came up with that name?
Yeah, the 30-second infomercial is basically sendarope.com is a call for Americans to take back their country and really restore the Constitution by sending rope to the traitors in office. We used to do that. I mean, we didn't send rope. We used to string them up with rope from trees when people betrayed this nation. And that's what's happening right now, whether it's our fiscal policy, our global policy, or a lot of these things, they're not constitutional. These people took an oath. They put their hands up, put their hand on the Bible, and said, I swear to uphold and defend the Constitution, and they're not doing that. And so that's what the website's about, and I use it primarily to point people to my MySpace page or my YouTube page. That's where I spend most of my time and efforts.
And that's where you and I met, was on YouTube.
Yeah, that's right.
Just real quick, what's the response to your videos? Generally, what do folks have to say about your videos?
Generally, it's positive. I've got a lot of different subscribers, different groups of people. But yeah, I occasionally will get a naysayer in there, but not too often. People are pretty fed up.
The naysayers.
Well, you don't have to look too far to find somebody who's not upholding the Constitution in Washington.
No, you don't. And that's sad.
You can look right to the White House for that, frankly. Which actually leads me to the topic of discussion, or one of the topics I want to talk to you guys about. And
Right.
I got to thinking this week, as I've seen all the news about Hillary and Obama back and forth, and John McCain sort of out of the news for a little bit here. There's another candidate out there who has got more support, more financial support, wins all the debates, but the media seems to totally ignore, and that's Ron Paul. What has happened to Ron Paul? Has the media chosen specifically to ignore him, and why have they done that? I'll start with you, Doug, if you don't mind.
Well, Ron Paul's campaign, here's the thing, is a freedom revolution that's actually bigger than Ron Paul's candidacy for president this time around. That's the way I see it, and that's the way a lot of the Ron Paul followers see it.
So, you're saying that you're not concerned with whether he's actually going to run for president. You're saying there's a movement that he started.
It's a movement that he started. You can't put this genie back in the bottle, and that's something that they're going to try to do someday, but they're not going to be able to. And here's the point. The point is this. During this primary season, you got to remember, we're still in the primary season. In the election game, that's a whole different thing than a general election in November. And so Ron Paul is obviously not going to get the Republican nomination because of the McCain, machine, or for lack of a better word for it. But he could run as a third-party candidate in the general election and, quite frankly, really make an impact. And if he chooses not to do that, and then someone else does, then we're going to have to look, at someone else.
Kurt, what do you think the odds of Ron Paul running as a third-party candidate are, and how convinced are you that Doug's take about the revolution and the genie in the bottle and all that? I mean, where do you stand on that?
Well, I am very convinced that he has started something and that it is moving forward, and that it's going to be really hard to stop. These people, that the globalists, the elitists, the industrialists, and all of these people that are really running the show, pulling the strings of the top three candidates. They've basically given us a choice of, hey, we're going to cut your legs off. Would you like us to use the meat cleaver, the butcher knife, or the samurai sword? I mean, we don't really get an option here. I don't know which one would actually, let's see, which shall I prefer? I don't know. But as far as Ron Paul running as a third-party candidate, I don't really see that happening, and the reason is he said he won't. Numerous times
Right.
He said, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it.
And that's where I think a lot of the Ron Paul
If there's
supporters,
anyone you can take at his word, it's Ron Paul.
I take him at his
Yeah.
word. I mean, he says he's not going to run. So my follow-up question to you, Kurt, is if not Ron Paul, who this year, and is there a choice? And if not this year, when's this revolution going to take hold and turn the country around?
Yeah. Well, I think that for me, if Ron Paul doesn't get the nomination. And the funny thing is, here's what's weird about this whole thing. McCain has broken numerous campaign finance laws. He's overspent, which should disqualify him in several states, yet they seem to be just closing their eyes and plugging their ears and saying, I'm not listening to you. So that'll be an interesting thing if that actually plays out, because if it does play out, we could still see Ron Paul as a candidate. Now, let's assume Ron Paul isn't the candidate, that he's not on the ballot anywhere. As far as I'm concerned, he's still on the ballot for me. I'm writing him in.
Okay, fair enough.
If I'm going to, quote unquote, waste my vote, as the mass media would, the mainstream media would say, then I'm going to waste it on Ron Paul. I'm going to waste it on a guy who deserves my vote.
I agree with you completely.
Not on John McCain, who I am transitioning as time goes on more and more to a more constitutionalist mindset. So I wouldn't consider myself a Republican. I would consider myself a constitutionalist. Now, that being said, we don't have three parties here. We have two parties. We really only have one party. They just pretend we have two parties so that we can seem as if we've had a say. Now, I just can't see myself supporting somebody like John McCain, Hillary, or Obama, and I don't care who the vice president is on either side that might be a good person. I think that it would be the detriment of conservatism, which is really what constitutionalism is about, to have somebody like John McCain. I'm all in favor of getting a Democrat in office so that we can throw out the bums in the Republican Party that have been screwing up the show lately.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not. I
there.
used to be a Republican. I'm constitutionalist, independent, whatever. I guess I'm also more of a realist in that unless Ron Paul runs as an independent, I don't see what choices we've got. Now, yeah, I'd still vote for Ron Paul, but Doug, back to your point about the genie being out of the bottle, when is this magic genie going to start granting wishes? That's what I want to know.
When enough people have seen the magic. See, here's the thing about the Ron Paul revolution is once you've seen the truth, you can't believe the lie anymore. And once your eyes have been opened to what's really going on and you see the mainstream media for the charlatans that they are, that's when it happens. In fact, if you are a big Ron Paul supporter, and I know both of you guys are, and I am as well, if you want to convince older people, and I'm going to tell you that, Don, I know we've talked about your dad in politics, and I imagine, everybody's dad is a little more conservative than they are. Well, tell them to turn off Fox News for a second and give them a copy of Andrew Napolitano's book, Constitutional Chaos, because he's the judge from Fox News. They all know him and trust him. And when he tells them that what they have on their hands here is a mess, they will believe him. And we can start to convert more people. And as soon as the most people know and most people, believe that the mainstream media is manipulating their existence here in this nation, then we have a shot.
Now, do either one of you believe that within the next 1 to 5 years we'll see the sorts of constitutional change we want? Either one of you, Kurt?
No, I don't believe that. And a reason I don't is we have outlets that the founders didn't have. We have things like blogging and MySpace and YouTube and all these places where we can vent our negative energy. And instead of actually taking to the streets and protest, instead of showing up and talking to our senators, instead of showing up at the ballot box or taking our guns and killing these people, I don't see that happening.
So what you're saying is you think that the solution is more drastic than people are willing to do right now.
Exactly, yeah.
We've all seen your civil liberties just being eroded, one little niche here, niche there, till eventually they're gone. And it's going to get much worse before people realize that revolution is necessary.
On that cheerful note,
I mean, you'll see RFID chips, the real ID, the biometric passports for the guest workers. All that stuff has come into a driver's license bureau near you,
by the way,
friends,
for all
you will see that before you see
all
revolution.
the FBI, CIA, Illuminati, and Bilderbergers watching my video, that's Doug Newberry at investingsystems.com. Listen, when they start handing out Ameros, I just want to be the guy with the most Ameros in my pocket. I just want to be very clear about that.
Die große Zeit ist jetzt angebrochen. Deutschland ist nun erwacht. Die Macht haben wir nun in Deutschland gewonnen.